Devastating testimony from whistleblower X. The House of Biden. Will it finally fall? Good morning, Boston. Okay, my friends. Unbelievable, at times explosive, devastating testimony yesterday up on Capitol Hill. While a lot of people, obviously, the biggest story in the world, we're talking about the imminent Trump indictment. One of the reasons it was released was to try to obscure the massive hearing yesterday held in front of the House Oversight Committee led by Chairman James Comer. In that committee hearing yesterday, IRS whistleblower agent Gary Shapley testified publicly under oath, as well as now a second whistleblower. And this one is damaging as hell. He's what used to be known as Whistleblower X. He has now identified himself. He has come out, Joseph Ziegler. Joseph Ziegler worked in the criminal division of the IRS. He is not a Republican. He is instead, listen to this, a gay Democrat. Let me repeat this. One of the two major whistleblowers is a gay Democrat, like Shapley, a veteran IRS agent, both of whom have worked at the IRS for over a decade. Both men, unimpeachable integrity. Not a blemish on their record. So here you have not one now, but two whistleblowers who are at the heart of the Hunter Biden investigation. And yesterday, did they blow the whistle? Under oath. Remember now, everything that Merrick Garland has been saying, everything that David Weiss, the U.S. attorney in Delaware, who led the prosecution of Hunter Biden, the mop-up operation known as an investigation, that whole sweetheart deal that was given to Hunter over the tax charges and the gun charges, everything that they have said has not been under oath. These two now have testified publicly under oath upon the penalty of perjury. And everything that Mr. Whistleblower X said yesterday fully reinforces everything that Gary Shapley said. And in a nutshell, because they said a lot, but in a nutshell, here is now what Joseph Ziegler and Shapley now have clearly laid out with the receipts, the documents, the transcripts, the emails, the numbers, the wire transfers, everything. Hunter Biden and Joe Biden received, from what they know definitively, $17 million. $17 million from entities in Romania and China. That these went to accounts owned by Hunter, owned by Joe Biden. At least 20 shell companies that we're aware of and counting. Furthermore, it was clearly pay to play. There's no getting around it. It was public corruption. It was bribery. They were buying influence and access through Hunter to get to the big guy, who, by the way, Joseph Ziegler yesterday conclusively proved the big guy is what we all know, Joe Biden. But now there's no getting around it. According to the IRS agents investigating the Biden crime family, they go, without a doubt, he is the big guy. That is Joe Biden. He's constantly referred to as the big guy in document after document. That is Joey. Furthermore, not only did they take in $17 million in pay to play and bribery, illegal, criminal, treasonous, but more than that, millions of those dollars unpaid taxes. In fact, as Ziegler and Shapley yesterday testified, we're talking millions and millions and millions of dollars in tax evasion, tax fraud, unpaid taxes. As Ziegler said, if this was anyone else, they would have been charged not with these dinky misdemeanors, but with major felonies that would have resulted them going to jail for many, many years. And so, what is the problem? The problem was, as Ziegler and Shapley yesterday laid out, the Department of Justice interfered in their investigation. And they said there were two things, that stood out and stand out to this day. Number one, that the Department of Justice deliberately slow-walked the investigation into Hunter Biden. And the reason, they said, was obvious to the entire investigative team. They wanted the statute of limitations to run out. The 5-year statute of limitations. So, it was unnecessary delay after unnecessary delay. It was them refusing to move on all aspects of the investigation. Everything taking forever. And they go, it was obvious. They wanted to get to the 5-year mark. Once they get to 5 years, Hunter Biden's in the clear. That, they go, was a deliberate, calculated policy. This came directly from Merrick Garland and Joe Biden. In fact, at one point, Ziegler testified Joe Biden as President Joe Biden, appeared at one of the FBI offices. And he literally, physically appeared at an FBI office to try to intimidate the FBI IRS team that were investigating Hunter Biden. But even more than the president's direct interference, even more than Merrick Garland's direct interference, he said, furthermore, repeatedly, we were told you cannot go after Hunter, and you especially cannot go after the big guy. When they wanted to execute a warrant on one of Joe Biden's properties, this is where Hunter was living, because they knew there were all kinds of smoking gun documents that would prove definitively, on top of everything else they had, that he was engaging in pay-to-play, he was hiding millions of dollars in taxes, he was laundering and siphoning money. He was directly told, you cannot go and investigate the Bidens. You can't get a warrant. You won't get a warrant. You're not going on their property, and never mention or talk about the big guy. Repeatedly, Ziegler said, we knew the money Hunter was collecting. He was the middleman. He was the bag man. Everything ultimately, though, went to the big guy. And when we said we want to investigate the big guy, we were repeatedly told, "Niet, no, absolutely not." They were running interference for Hunter and Joe Biden every single step of the way. It was so bad that even when the U.S. Attorney for Delaware, David Weiss, said, we got them on crimes in Washington, D.C., and for a while Hunter's business was in California, we've got him in California. And they said, let's go and press felony charges. The politically appointed U.S. attorneys in Washington said, no dice. You're not going to charge Hunter with anything in the District of Columbia. In California, we're not going to let you charge anything against Hunter Biden. So, as Joseph Ziegler said, I witnessed with my own eyes. I saw it. I read it. I was present. Our investigation, and the U.S. attorney in particular, David Weiss, his words were, quote, constantly hamstrung, limited, and marginalized. They were going to get Hunter Biden free no matter what. And that, in other words, the investigation was completely rigged. It was rigged to give Hunter a sweetheart deal and to clean up his mess. And when these two whistleblowers protested, among many others, they cracked down on them. My friends, what you now have is clear obstruction of justice. You have abuse of power. You have public corruption. You now have, without question, crimes upon crimes upon crimes. And the only question now is, will the Republicans finally, after this damning, devastating testimony, which corroborates everything, will they finally have the guts, the courage, the cojones to impeach Joe Biden and go after the entire Biden crime family? Donald Trump yesterday said after this explosive testimony from both Shapley and Joseph Ziegler, whistleblower X, he is now urging House Republicans, what are you waiting for? Impeach. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, my friends, the testimony yesterday, it went on hour after hour after hour after hour. By the time everything was said and done, a mountain of irrefutable, corroborated evidence from two whistleblowers. In fact, now there's a third. An FBI special agent now has testified under oath. He wants to keep his identity anonymous, but also now a supervisory agent, a senior agent, corroborating further what these two whistleblowers yesterday testified to under oath. Gary Shapley and whistleblower X, who now has come out as Joseph Ziegler. Ziegler is a gay Democrat. So it's very, very hard now for the media or the Democrats to try to destroy or impugn his character and his integrity. I want you to listen now to several of the things that were revealed yesterday, because President Trump has now come out and saying, after now what we know definitively, fully validated, fully corroborated by both Shapley and Ziegler, two agents, one in the criminal division, another one a senior IRS agent in the investigative unit, both of them who worked on the Hunter Biden investigation for years. After what they have now revealed, the Republicans now must impeach Joe Biden, that there can be no getting around it. Listen now to Joseph Ziegler, he's whistleblower X, saying, no question, what we looked at, and we didn't look at everything, we just looked at a slice of their business. What we found, $17 million, $17 million pouring into their coffers from China and Romania. Roll cut 20, Mike.
Approximately how much was transferred to Hunter Biden and his business associates through Hudson West 3?
So the total transfers from Hudson West 3 to everyone was $3.7 million.
$3.7 million. How much money did Hunter Biden and his business associates receive from the Ukrainian company Burisma?
Burisma paid to everyone involved $6.5 million.
$6.5 million. Burisma also paid Blue Star Strategies and a law firm hundreds of thousands of dollars, bringing the total Burisma payments to over $7 million. Is that correct?
That is correct. $7.3 million.
$7.3 million. Between 2014 and 2019, this brings the total amount of foreign income streams received to approximately $17 million, correct?
That is correct.
I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, you want to talk about whores. They were taking money from everybody. From everybody. Who the hell weren't they taking money from? Now, he's asked point blank. So, and a lot of this was being siphoned off to Joe Biden. He goes, well, yeah, of course. And he's known as the big guy, right? That the big guy is Joe Biden. He's like, yeah, of course Joe Biden is the big guy. This is Andy Biggs asked about, so who's the big guy? You followed all these records, all these transactions, all of this money that went to Hunter, and then from Hunter he fed it to his father. So who is the big guy? Roll cut 22. Mike.
Who did you infer that the big guy may be?
All I can do is speak to the evidence there. What I can say is, I think I know what you're referring to is when we're preparing for that interview and we're referencing that email, 10 held by H for the big guy. And from what I understand that to be his dad, President Biden.
Okay. So I'm sorry. I just want to ask Mr. Shapley a similar question because the AUSA Wolf interjected, and I'm reading from your transcript now, and said she did not want to ask about the big guy and stated she did not want to ask questions about dad, quote, in quotes. Who did you take dad to be when she refers to dad?
The father of the subject is President Biden.
I mean, there you go. It's right there. So Lisa Wolf is one of the top people overseeing it from the DOJ. And she's saying, you're not going to go after Joe Biden. You're not going after Joe Biden. Do you understand that? You're not going to follow the money trail to Joe Biden. You're just not going to do it. She's also the one that said, you're not going to go and do an IRS raid and go and get those documents, even though you have a warrant to do it. We're not going to let you do it on the Biden property. Hunter Biden was sleeping on one of these summer cottages. You're just, because it's going to humiliate Hunter and it's going to expose him and expose his father. So it's all there, man. It's all there. We're not talking now connecting the dots. It's all like, it's just, it's there's nothing to connect. It's all there. It's all black and white. They spell it out for you. It's like breadcrumbs. Come on. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Just there you go. Okay. Listen now to President Trump. Saying you've now, with this now, after this testimony, roll cut 30, Mike.
We have a compromised president. China gives him millions of dollars. If he's given Biden millions of dollars, he's compromised. Now, that's only the stuff they found. There's a lot of other things, and there'll be some things that you never find, but there's a lot of other things. So he's getting millions of dollars illegally from China, and then you say, hey, they impeached me over a phone call that was perfect. Why aren't they impeaching Biden for receiving tens of millions of dollars? Why isn't he under impeachment?
Now, that's the question, especially after yesterday's testimony. Why aren't the Republicans impeaching Biden? 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, look, it was bombshell after bombshell after bombshell. I mean, look, they got him. The only thing missing, it's like your opponent, both hands are down in the ring. It's like, say, a boxing match. And he's beaten, battered, bloodied, and it's just, he's just and he's just lying on the ropes. And all you got to do is deliver that one last knockout punch. And that's the House Republicans. Like, what are you waiting? You're just standing there, shooting your mouth off. Hit the guy. Knock him out. Let's go. And that's literally now where we stand. The House of Biden is teetering. They've got him. All of the evidence is there. All of the witness testimony, corroboration, documents, emails, receipts, wire transfers, the money. They've got it all. They've got it all. That's why CNN, MSNBC would not touch this hearing yesterday with a 10-foot pole. They didn't want to cover it. They don't want to talk about it. They get their talking heads on afterwards to try to spin and lie and distort. Because if the American people heard what I saw and what many of you saw yesterday, it's over. It's over. The Bidens are crooks, criminals, and traitors. Case closed. It's not even up for debate. Listen now, the lines are jammed. I want to go to the phone lines, but just super quick. I feel like I'm at a buffet, honestly. I don't even know what cut to play. It's all good. Listen now. This is Whistleblower X. Joseph Ziegler, again, gay Democrat. That's, they don't know what to do with this now. Here's Ziegler saying, no, the U.S. attorney in Delaware, David Weiss, who refused to charge Hunter with felonies, was under tremendous pressure every step of the way not to go after Hunter and expose the real crimes of the Biden crime family. And he's saying what we need now is a special prosecutor because that job was rigged. David Weiss was hamstrung every step of the way. Roll cut 13B, Mike.
I will also note that while the impression has been conveyed by the U.S. Attorney in Delaware that he has similar powers to that of a special counsel in this case, free rein to do as needed, that was not the case. It appeared to me, based on what I experienced, that the U.S. Attorney in Delaware in our investigation was constantly hamstrung, limited, and marginalized by DOJ officials as well as other U.S. attorneys. I still think that a special counsel is necessary for this investigation to further handle ancillary investigations that are spun off and relate to Hunter Biden, but may not have venue in Delaware.
There's no question. There's no question. They rigged the investigation. They obstructed justice. There's no getting around that. They whitewashed all of Hunter Biden and the Biden crime family's crimes because it all leads to the big guy. There's no question. There's no question. Now, they got a problem with Ziegler. Shapley, they're trying to destroy as I speak to you. Ziegler now, they're looking at his file. The Democrats are furiously now. They're trying to discredit this guy. They want to ruin his reputation. The problem is he's a lifelong Democrat. He's a member of the LGBTQ community. In fact, he's gay. He's got a same-sex partner. They've been married now for a couple of years. Listen now to Ziegler saying to everybody out there in the LGBTQ community, I am an example to all of you. Just do the right thing. Follow the evidence and the facts where it leads. Don't bend to political pressure or intimidation, as he says he is now clearly facing. Roll cut 13C, Mike.
I hope that I am an example to other LGBTQ people out there who are questioning doing the right thing at the potential cost to themselves and others. We should always do the right thing, no matter how painful the process might be. I kind of equate this to experience and feelings I encountered when coming out. It was honestly one of the hardest things I ever had to go through. I contemplated scenarios that would have been highly regrettable, but I did what is right, and I'm sitting here in front of you today.
Well, this is going to be a hell of a lot worse than when you came out of the closet, my friend. That's all I got to tell you. You wait till that Democrat hate machine gets going. Oh, you won't recognize yourself by the time they're done. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, so let me set the table. We now have explosive testimony under oath from two career IRS agents with impeccable records, unimpeachable integrity. And it shows conclusively that the Hunter Biden investigation was a sham, it was a joke, it was obstructed, it was interfered, and it was rigged. Straight from the Department of Justice under Merrick Garland and Joe Biden. And what it also shows is that they have all the goods, that the Biden crime family, at the top of which were Joe Biden and under him Hunter Biden, that they engaged in naked corruption, bribery, influence peddling, pay to play. Trump says you have more than enough evidence. It's time to impeach. Is Trump right? Is it time now for House Republicans to say, we've got more than enough, impeach Joe Biden, and bring the Biden crime family down? 617-266-6868. And did you see the hearing yesterday? And what did you make of the two whistleblowers, Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler? Lines are loaded. 617-266-6868 is the number. David, you're going to start it off in Pennsylvania. Thanks for holding, David, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, David?
Good, Jeff. I hope your father's doing better. He's always in my prayers.
Thank you, David.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Hey, Jeff, me and you are in the wrong business. We should get into racketeering and embezzlement like all these Biden family members are, Jeff. I'm a metal fabricator and you're a talk show host. So, and the Democrats want to turn around and they want to call this a witch hunt like they're doing after Trump. Jeff, I come from Salem back where you're at, okay? I know a thing or two about witch hunts. So, it's amazing, Jeff.
Dave, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I got it. When I don't know if you saw the testimony yesterday, but when you hear, 3.3 million from this oligarch, 7.3 million from the Burisma oligarch, 1.6, there's numbers like millions here, millions there, this Romanian oligarch, this Ukrainian oligarch, these Chinese companies tied to the regime in Beijing. And you're like, you can't keep up with all the millions just pouring in. I'm thinking like, boy, that's a racket, huh? Boy, hey, Dave, that's a nice way to make a living, huh? Millions coming in left, right, and center. Dave, you're buddy. I think you and I are in the wrong line of work, man.
Like last night's drawing, that one ticket in California, when you can be just saying I'm a Biden family member. Come on, you'll get kickbacks for just saying you're Biden. And Jeff, and, President Trump made a great point by saying that it's time to impeach. Well, if Kevin McCarthy, that rhinoceristic rhino, like Charlie Faker and Mitt Romney there, Mitt the moron, we're going to see right now, Jeff, we're going to see the true colors come shining through like the Cyndi Lauper song from the 1980s. The true colors of the rhinos are going to become shining through, Jeff. If they don't impeach after this, Jeff, and the Democrats don't have a leg to stand on. Again, I'm not mincing my words. This guy came out and admitted he was a Democrat, a gay Democrat. I'd like to see how PMS, NBC, and the rest of the communist media and the fake news come out and try to spin this. They do, Jeff. It's like they're running a marathon. They shot their kneecaps out. They have no leg to stand on, buddy.
Oh, after yesterday, it's over. In terms of the evidence, it's over. Now the question is, do the Republicans have the will to come in and finish Biden off? But everything Dave, everything that we've been saying about Biden, everything was 1,000% corroborated and proved yesterday. To me, today, every Democrat who voted for Biden should be holding their head in shame. Seriously, after yesterday, you're right. They just shot both their kneecaps off. They destroyed them yesterday. It's over. After yesterday, it's over. The only question is now, do the Republicans have the guts to finish them off? Dave, as always, I really like that call. Really good call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay. I want to go right back to the blazing phone lines. So let me ask you, did you see yesterday's explosive testimony? Whistleblower X, along with Gary Shapley, and he openly said it. The investigation against Hunter was rigged. 617-266-6868 is the number. You can also text us 70470. And as always, you can email the Kuhner Man. Jeff, it makes sense now as to why the Democrats fought so hard to portray President Trump as a tax dodger. Everything, in caps, they accuse Trump of, they're guilty of. That's one of the most incredible things revealed from yesterday, is how many millions and millions of dollars Hunter and Joe Biden owe in unpaid taxes. At one point, Ziegler saying, well, we were going after him and he owed $2.2 million in taxes. 2.2 million. Almost everything they were getting was undeclared. It's pouring in. 7 million here from the Ukrainians, 5 million from the Romanians, millions from the Chinese. And all of it, none of it is being paid in taxes. And they were going after Trump? Are you kidding me? It was crime after crime after crime. And the Republicans now, you want to politically hang Joe Biden? You've got all the nooses there. You've got the rope. You've got everything. All you got to do is politically just string them up. Let the American people see all of this evidence. And it's over. It's over. 617-266-6868 is the number. Agree, disagree. Joe in South Boston. Thanks for holding, Joe, and welcome.
Thank you.
Hi, Joe.
Yeah. Good morning.
Hi.
Jeff, I have a question. I
Yes,
got a
Joe.
scenario. What if Joe Biden has been doing this for a very long time? I can't believe that the Bush, Clinton, and Obama aren't involved in this. I can't believe they would let him go through this tyranny of selling our secrets to every country for so long without getting paid off themselves. I'm thinking that those 20 offshore accounts are spread out between a number of politicians, not just the Biden family. And they have to be protected. That's why there's so many people protecting them, because everyone's getting money. What do you think about that?
Joe, how do I say this? Look, I don't want to quibble. You're right. I think you're fundamentally right. I don't believe those 20 accounts have anything to do with Obama or Clinton or Bush, because they have their own accounts. See, in other words, what the Bidens have now been caught doing, and remember what Obama said, that Biden is the stupidest of the lot. Remember, again, I don't want to be vulgar. It's a morning show and a family show, but literally his nickname for Joe Biden was the F up. And he always said, never underestimate Joe's ability to F things up. So he was always known as the F up. And one of the reasons why he kept telling Joe, don't run in 2020. You don't have to do this. Because privately he was saying, this idiot is going to get everything exposed. Like he's if there's a crime family boss, think of one who's like just dumb as a box of bricks. I mean, he's the henchman, he's the kneecapper, but he's just really stupid. And he's got this degenerate crackhead son who keeps, making mistake after mistake after mistake. And so Obama was like, this idiot, I'm telling you, is gonna, he's gonna screw everything up. It's going to expose all of us. So it's not that Obama or Clinton or whoever the Bushes have ties to those accounts. They have their own accounts. And what the Bidens have been doing is the template that the Clintons were doing. So you set up your own family business, and it's an influence peddling business, and you use family members as your kind of go-betweens and your carve-outs, and you just take money from all of these sources around the world, and you sell America down the river. Now, we know the Bushes were in bed with the Saudis. That we know. There's no question. The Cheneys, the exact same thing. We know the Obamas have been taking money from the Chinese and from the Saudis. What we know with the Clintons is they took money from everybody. I mean, they're one of the biggest whores in Washington. You look at that Clinton Foundation, and I mean, my God, they were drowning in foreign money. The Bidens, it's China and Ukraine. Now, I didn't know about Romania, but Biden was the point man on Romania. So there were a lot of Romanian money pouring in. But the two most corrupt sources were from communist China and Ukraine. There's no question. So, and you mentioned others. You mentioned Mitt Romney. You mentioned Mitch McConnell. You mentioned Nancy Pelosi. I mean, they're all in on it. So that's why they have to protect Hunter Biden. Because it's like think of crime families, the syndicate. You take down one, you can take down every crime family because they're all interconnected. And that's what we're seeing here. I mean, really, Joe, when you watch or hear yesterday's testimony, you say, this is a mafia state. Our country is run by a group of political gangsters, or to be more accurate, political mob families. Now, who's the top boss? Who's the top don? Some say it's Obama. Who knows? Who controls his strings? But the point is, there's no question now. We're like an Eastern European country. Oligarchs run America. And oligarchs are essentially political gangsters. That's what an oligarch is. Oligarchs now run America. Families, oligarch families. Joe, are you still there, or did I lose you?
I am. I'm just listening to you. Yeah, I'm just wondering, all of the Democrats are just tearing down or tearing at everyone that goes against Biden. I mean, they're so dedicated to it. And I'm looking and laughing at them and saying, do you really believe this? Or are they paying you all off also?
No, Joe, look, Joe, you put your finger right on it. This is what I don't get. In other words, look, I get it if you're taking money from them. I get it. You're a hack. Okay, you got a financial interest to be blind, to deliberately turn a blind eye. Okay, I get it. But it's these callers, these crazy liberal moonbat callers or listeners. I'm like, are you on the Biden gravy train? Because if you're not on the Biden gravy train, they're stealing money from you, man. Like, why would you be defending these crooks? It's like defending Whitey Bulger. No, really. Like, okay, unless you're part of his, Irish mob family or Irish mob group, then okay, I get it. You have an interest. But if you're just an ordinary person on the street, why would you defend these people? Like, you're crazy. And that's the ideological fanaticism. That's where the media comes in, you see? The media portrays us as monsters and racists. It gives them a target to hate. And they're so stupid, they don't realize that the people they're defending are their mortal enemies. Joe Biden is the enemy of the little man. All of them are. Obama, Bush, Cheney, the whole swamp. They get richer and richer and more powerful all the time. And the middle working class gets poorer and poorer and poorer. And yet they defend them. And I'm like, boy, you guys, you can't fix stupid. But that's what it is. It's ideological fanaticism driven by the media and by sheer hatred. And it's sad. Honestly, Joe, it's completely sad. Because you're right. I laugh at them, too. I'm like, you're defending these crooks? What are you defending these crooks for? I mean, unless you're getting money from the Bidens, unless they're giving you a little cut, what the hell are you defending them for? They're screwing you they're screwing you 6 ways to Sunday. Joe, thank you very, very much for that call. I mean, just look, I don't want to get into all the issues here. Okay, just here. Just go see what bread costs at the grocery store. Peanut butter, meat, I don't care, beef, chicken, fruits, vegetables. The Kuhner man, I'm trying to buy a used car. You wouldn't believe how much used cars cost. And I'm asking every dealer, I go, no, I know because my wife bought a car a couple years ago, maybe 3.5 under Trump. I go, it wasn't like this. Every single one of them, Bidenflation. Now, I'm not talking it's $100 more. I'm talking $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 more for a car. He's destroying the middle working class. Like, I mean, hello? Like, is everybody in this state driving a government car? So I'm just saying, I look at the price of everything. It's all skyrocketed. Pizza is expensive. Here, I took the kids and my wife, last week, a treat, Five Guys. Okay, I think some of the best burgers out there, but that's me. Let that go. Now, really, I'm telling you, cheeseburger, 4 cheeseburgers, 1 large French fry. The kids wanted a couple of milkshakes. Long story short, $97. $97 for burgers to take a family of 4. Come on, man. Like, are you serious? And by these guys here, I can play more clips. It was unbelievable. Yeah, well, we found $20 million from this source, and then $16 million from this source, and then $7.3 million from this source, and then $3.3 million from this source. And did he pay taxes? No, he didn't pay taxes on any of this. In fact, we said he owes $2.2 million in taxes, and they're just listing everything. Oh, really? And to the big guy, how much the big guy get? Well, we knew he was getting a good chunk of the money, and we wanted to find out more, but then we were blocked. You're looking at all this, and your tongue is like, oh, my God. This is Russia, man. This is Ukraine. This is Croatia. This is Serbia. This is Romania. This is Bulgaria. It's like in Eastern Europe. It's just like these oligarchs, they just, as they say, take, but not so much. For God's sakes, don't be so greedy. Leave something for the hospitals and the roads and the schools. Don't just take everything. 617-266-6868 is the number. Here, look, there's so many of these. Let me just play one more. It was, again, you don't know where to start. There's so much amazing material yesterday. Okay, listen now to Shapley. Here's Shapley. Okay, let's do the WhatsApp app message. So, you've got Hunter Biden shaking down the Chinese energy firm, which is directly tied to the Chinese Communist Party, CEFC. And it's $5 million for him and $5 million for Joe Biden. So $10 million. And it's explicit. $5 million for him, $5 million for Joe. By the way, didn't pay any taxes on this, but let that go. And he says, if you don't deliver the money, he goes, I'm going to get you, and my dad, who's standing right next to me as I'm texting you, he's going to go after you. You're going to rue the day you didn't give us this money. So like the mob, they're openly shaking you down. So Shapley says, well, we wanted to investigate this, obviously. You think the Department of Justice let him? Roll cut 14A. Mike.
Investigators were not allowed to follow up on WhatsApp messages from Hunter Biden's Apple iCloud backup, where he suggested he was sitting next to his father. Assistant United States Attorney Leslie Wolf cited the optics of executing a search warrant at President Biden's residence as a deciding factor for not allowing it, even though she agreed that probable cause existed.
So she agrees. Okay, this Leslie Wolf agrees, this senior DOJ official. No, we got probable cause. Yeah, they're hiding money, they're taking money, they're stealing money. But the quote, optics. In other words, we're not going to tee off the White House. What are you, crazy? No. So we can't do the search warrant? No. So we can't get all the smoking gun evidence? No. Here's one more. Last one, I promise. I'll go right back to the phone lines. Here, the big guy. The big guy. Remember, so Ziegler said the big guy is Joe Biden definitively. Okay, here it is. Roll cut 14B. This is Shapley now, saying we wanted to go after the big guy, investigate the big guy. We weren't allowed. Roll cut 14B. Mike.
Prosecutors instructed investigators not to ask about the big guy or dad when conducting interviews. The Biden transition team was tipped off about interviews the night before the investigation went over, a fact my FBI counterpart confirmed to this committee in a recent testimony, where the result was that only one witness spoke to investigators that day. These are just some of the examples of how our investigation was stymied.
They were tipping off witnesses ahead of time. They were tipping off subjects who were going to be interviewed, suspects, ahead of time. They had a storage of documents that Hunter Biden had in Northern Virginia. They were tipped off before they could get to him, and they cleaned out that storage facility, cleaned it out before they arrived. They wanted to interview Hunter Biden. This is both Ziegler and Shapley testified under oath. And they were told, you don't call him. Like, what do you mean we don't call him? We've never done that before in our 14 years. He goes, no. You don't call him. He will call you. Hunter Biden never called. That's how rigged the investigation was. All of it protected by his father and by Merrick Garland. I'm telling you, this screams impeachment. Bribery and treason are literally laid out in the impeachment statute in the Constitution. They're like, no, this is why you impeach. This is it. These are the two reasons why you impeach. And they've got the Bidens on both. On both. Hello, Kevin McCarthy. Hello. Could you do it? 617-266-6868. Jen in Marshfield. Thanks for holding, Jen, and welcome.
Thank you. I'd like to know all those illegal millions that are adding up day after day, can those millions of dollars be taken from them and added to the trillions of dollars in debt we are, because those are illegal dollars? Can anything like that happen? It would be much better to leave them penniless, like a lot of people in the country now, because of what they have done to it.
Well, I mean, look, that's the other thing, is by allowing all of these, what we're looking at now, 6-7 million illegals just under Biden alone. Over the country, across the country now, we got at least 30 million illegal immigrants. 30 million. But under Biden, 6-7 million illegals. This is now already state budgets, Massachusetts, New York, Illinois, California. I mean, these are big states. New Jersey, another one. Connecticut, another one. They're all coming out saying we're running out of money. No, literally, I'm telling you, Jen, they're saying we're out of money. We can't keep putting them up in hotels and motels. We can't keep giving them free food and, free education and free health care. And we just, you don't understand. We don't have enough money for vets, for our own homeless people, for our own needs. We're running out of money. And that's why the pressure is building. They want us now to start housing them, I swear to you, in your home, my home, our homes, our apartments, our residences. So this is how bad the situation is getting. This is what I mean. I don't know how you can defend Joe Biden. He's screwing you. I mean, I don't mean you're defending him. I'm just speaking, to Democrats out there. He's literally screwing you every step of the way. And by the way, you're a Democrat. Okay, I get it. I swear I get it. RFK. I mean, I don't agree with him on many issues. I'm not saying I would vote for him against Trump. I wouldn't. But, he's a viable alternative. He's not going to have this country be swamped by illegals. Say what you want about RFK. He would never plunder and rip off his country like this. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. I'm telling you, he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't be stealing like this. He wouldn't be taking money from all these countries around the world. He wouldn't be doing any of this. In fact, he's going to clean all this up. To him, that's exactly what's wrong with the Democratic Party. So you have an honest Democrat who's a patriot, who's running against Joe Biden, who's not dirty, who's not corrupt, who's not a criminal, who's not a gangster. And what do? Now they're calling him a Jew hater. I swear, you can't make this up. So, Jen, these people have no integrity whatsoever. They have none. They look at you and me, and you know what we are? We're peasants. We're peasants to be screwed over and exploited. That's it. That's how they look at us. That's why, to me, You know, Churchill had the V for victory sign in World War II. Our sign should just be the middle finger. I'm serious. That should be our sign. We should walk around with the middle finger and wave it in the air. Hey, F Joe Biden. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. That's it. I'm walking down the grocery aisle. I'm just going to be waving my middle finger. Who are you waving your middle finger to? Joe Biden. FJB. F Joe Biden. There you go. That's our salute. That's our sign. Jen, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Mike, how much time left, my friend? 45 seconds. Well, hold on. If I could get a revenue source from Romania and send you $3.3 million and then get another oligarch from Burisma to send you $7.2 million, could you give me an extra minute? You do it for $30? You're a lot cheaper than Hunter Biden. I have to give him $10 million for that extra minute. You $30. 617-266-6868 is the number. You can also text us 70470. Okay, a couple of really, really good ones. This is from 781. Jeff, what yesterday's congressional hearing screamed was that not only should Joe Biden be impeached, but so should Merrick Garland for obstructing the investigation by the IRS. Yes, bingo. There's no doubt about it. I mean, again, I don't want to repeat myself. They got him. I mean, all they got to do is pull the proverbial trigger, but politically, they got him. You got him. I don't know how else to say this. Finish him off. What are you waiting for? 617-266-6868. Okay, this is one more. 508. Jeff, laugh out loud. What happened to pay your fair share? As Joey always says. That is a really good point. Huh? How many times is Joey lecturing everybody, the Democrats, Biden, pay your fair share. We gotta raise taxes. I'm like, yeah, why don't you start with you and Hunter, huh? Hey, you phony, you fraud, you. What pay your fair share? Pay something. That's, you got these guys up on the Hill yesterday, these Ziegler and Shapley, and they're like, no, he got $7 million from Burisma. Did he pay taxes? No. $3.3 million from the Romanians. Did he pay taxes? No. Sorry, $10 million from the Chinese. 5 for Joe, 5 for Hunter. Did they pay any? No, they didn't pay. What do you mean, nothing? Not even a penny? Nothing? No. So forget fair share. Pay something. 617-266-6868. They're so greedy. Oh, are they greedy? It's disgusting. Michael in Lynn. Thanks for holding, Michael, and welcome.
I'd like to thank you, Jeff, very much for informing the public about what's going on, because the news media will not report what's going on. They're covering the whole thing up. Example, I was watching ABC News to see what was going on, and all they did was put Jonathan Cowell on, and he viciously attacked Trump again. And you know who he used to support his facts? Cassidy Smollett Hutchinson. You know what she lied about again? And now she got $1 million payoff in a book deal. And I want to know, how come Jim Jordan hasn't done anything about her perjured testimony? And do you know anything about it?
Oh, that's a great point. No, well, she completely lied. In fact, we know she lied because they put the squeeze on the family members. So you're right. She's completely lying. She perjured herself. See, that's what I find amazing, Michael. God forbid, if you or I were ever put under oath for any, whatever, an investigation, whatever, any kind of a congressional hearing or whatever, you have to go to court for whatever reason, and you or I lie under oath, that, you and I go to jail. Like, they throw the book at you. They throw the book at me. But if you're a rabid anti-Trumper, you can lie till the cows come home. They don't care. In fact, you're rewarded. You get multi-million-dollar book deals. It's obscene. Michael, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Doris, is it Abington? Okay, just want to make sure. Doris in Abington. Thanks for holding, Doris, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. A little nervous. First-time caller. 10 years.
Welcome. You're among friends, Doris. There's no need for you to be nervous at all.
I know. Yesterday I was listening to the testimony on Sean Hannity on the radio in the afternoon, and when he was done, he had Jim Jordan on the phone, as a speaker with him. And at the end, he asked him, so where we go from here? What's going to happen? And Jim Jordan's response was, well, we have to get all our facts together. And I went through the roof because I said, that's exactly what he told Jeff Kuhner 2 months ago, almost 2 months ago when he was on with you. Jeff, my thing is, they're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything. And that's all I wanted to pass on to you. I'm sorry.
Doris, look, this is the sad thing. When Jim Jordan says we got to get our facts together, that's not him talking. That's Kevin McCarthy talking. So Kevin McCarthy has given the order that they're just not going to impeach. And that's why we've got to put maximum pressure on Kevin McCarthy. Look, we've got to hold a proverbial knife to his throat. And, or whatever, the gun to the back, or, whatever analogy you want to use, and say, you don't impeach, you'll never be speaker again. Like, that's it. Like, I don't know what else to say. He sold his soul to be Speaker of the House. So he wants to remain Speaker. That's the most important thing in his life. Well, we, the grassroots, have to say, you don't impeach Biden. We're going to demand you lose your speakership. 617-266-6868 is the number. You can also text us 70470-70470. Okay, my friends, it's the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Kelly Financial Services. Our IRS whistleblowers, Gary Shapley and now Whistleblower X, who now we know is Joseph Ziegler. So our IRS whistleblowers, Gary Shapley and Joseph Ziegler, are they A, heroes, B, villains? The media, the Dems, are trying to portray them as villains, sinister villains, out to get poor Hunter and poor Joey. To me, they are nothing but heroes who are risking their lives, their careers, their livelihoods, their reputations in the name of the truth. But that's me. I want to hear from you. You can vote on our webpage, WRKO.com/Kuhner, WRKO.com/Kuhner, KUHN as in Nancy ER. You can also vote via Twitter. Our handle there, at the Kuhner Report, KUHN as in Nancy ER. Okay, very, very quickly, listen now to Ziegler saying, I've been at this now for 14 years. I have done thousands of tax investigations. When you have someone evading this many millions of dollars in taxes, it's always a felony. It ends with years and years in jail. And in fact, that's what was recommended. And then Merrick Garland and the corrupt Department of Justice stepped in. Roll cut 13A, Mike.
In the Criminal Tax Manual, Chapter 10, found on the DOJ website, Tax Division policy states that cases involving individuals who fail to file tax returns or pay a tax, but who also commit acts of evasion or obstruction, should be charged as felonies to avoid inequitable treatment. In early August of 2022, federal prosecutors from the Department of Justice Tax Division drafted a 99-page memorandum. In so, they were recommending for approval felony and misdemeanor charges for the 2017, 18, and 19 tax years. That did not happen here, and I am not sure why.
Well, we know why, but he's just going by the facts, so he doesn't want to say anything beyond the facts. It's obvious why. Because the fix was in. So here you have, they're going millions and, I mean, literally, millions of dollars in unpaid taxes. And they go, this is a felony. I mean, I can cite you literally chapter and verse. It's a felony. It's years and years in jail. There's no question. And they was even recommended. The charges were, no, you've got to charge him with multiple felonies for tax evasion and tax fraud. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Now, to show you how disgusting this whole interference and manipulation by the Department of Justice was, I want you to listen to this. This is now Gary Shapler. It's not Ziegler. It's Gary Shapley. My bad. It's not Ziegler. It's Gary Shapley. Listen now to Shapley. They knew that all of their investigation would be corroborated on Hunter Biden's laptop. Yet the FBI and the DOJ, even though they had it, they knew it was authentic, they refused to let them look at the laptop. They refused to let them get access to documents that Hunter Biden was storing. They refused to let them investigate Joe Biden. They were stymied, obstructed, and stonewalled every step of the way. Listen now to Shapley. Roll cut 14, Mike.
Based on my experience, I'm here to tell you that the Delaware U.S. Attorney's Office and Department of Justice handling the Hunter Biden tax investigation was very different from any other case in my 14 years at the IRS. At every stage, decisions were made that benefited the subject of this investigation. For example, prosecutors concealed contents of Hunter Biden's laptop from investigators. DOJ slow-walked steps to include interviews, serving document requests, and executing search warrants.
It's not just that they didn't want Hunter Biden's laptop to come out, that they suppressed that. They didn't want to know the money that was coming into Hunter and from Hunter to Joe Biden. So that's why they suppressed the whole damn thing. So the American people wouldn't know what a crook and what a Benedict Arnold Joe Biden is and was. I mean, this screams impeachment. It screams abuse of power, obstruction of justice, and Ziegler is right. There now needs to be a special counsel appointed, a real independent special counsel. Because now there's a litany of crimes that were committed to cover up for the Biden crime family. Now, very, very quickly, and this is the part that I felt very bad, because I know what's going to happen to these two poor young men. I mean, these men now they're going to be destroyed. They're going to be persecuted. They're going to be hounded. They're going to be harassed. Their lives are now over. And it's going to be liberals and Democrats and the deep state that are going to do it. Listen now to Shapley saying, I'm just here to tell you the truth, man. I'm getting money from no one. You can look into it. I'm not on the take. I get one check. It comes from the government. I work for the government. I work for the IRS. It's deposited in my bank every 2 weeks. That's it. I'm not corrupt. I'm not taking money. I'm not on the take. I'm just trying to get all of you to see the facts, the whole facts, and nothing but the facts. Roll cut 15, Mike.
No matter your party, I am not your opposition. I am here with information for you to examine, investigate, and determine whether more action is warranted on your part. I am on your team, whether we agree on every politically sensitive issue or not. There is no benefit for me blowing the whistle on this case, absolutely none. I have no book deal, and the only money that goes into my bank account every 2 weeks is from my employment for the federal government.
Now, listen to him. Even though everything he said is not only true and accurate and has been corroborated, not just by Joseph Ziegler, but by 6 other FBI IRS agents, never mind emails, documents, paper. There's all kinds of paper proving everything that he said. Listen now, his superiors are gunning for him. He's got powerful political forces against him. Now they want his head on a platter. His crime, exposing the Biden crime family. Roll cut 15A, Mike.
I am still a supervisor leading a group of 12 fantastic agents working complex international investigations. Unfortunately, to this day, my immediate supervisors are retaliating against me for making protected disclosures. Even last fall, Biden family attorneys attacked investigators in the pages of the Washington Post and threatened the prosecutors with career suicide if they brought charges against the president's son. Then one of the Biden family attorneys sends to the press a 10-page error-filled letter. It attacked me with innuendo, false statements, and baseless speculation that I had leaked information to the Washington Post. These statements by Biden family attorneys are false.
They're scum. I mean, I know he's testifying under oath and he's a straight arrow, but really, if that was me, I'd say they're scum. They're absolute scum. They're bottom-feeding scum. That's what they are. I'm telling you. That's what they are. Let me play one more. And now he's begging the American people, saying, please, you need to know what's going on in your government. You need to know what the president and his degenerate son and his entire crime family, what they have done and what they are doing. Roll cut 15B, Mike.
The American people for whom this body works, I implore you to look at the facts, not agenda-laced statements from either side of the aisle. I am the average American citizen who worries about how I will send my kids to college and if I'll ever have enough money to retire, just like most people watching this today. I am the first person in my family to go to college. It was not an Ivy League school, and I don't have a network of rich and powerful friends to help me weather the storms of retaliation and character assassination. I am putting myself at risk for the American people who support me and for those who do not. At the end of the day, I'm just a small-town kid from Norwich, New York, who worked hard to get where I am and will never compromise my integrity. I will never forget who I am, where I come from, or all the people in my life who have made me who I am today.
Well, I mean, look, he's a very admirable man. He's a man clearly of integrity, of honesty, of truth. He's a patriot. He's brave. He's courageous, and he's going to get destroyed. I mean, that's just, you go up against the Bidens, or you go up against the swamp, and that's what they do to you. And the truth be damned. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, after yesterday's bombshell, it's the only other word you can use, testimony from two, not one now, but two, IRS whistleblowers with unimpeachable integrity and credibility. The House of Biden is teetering. Will it fall? 617-266-6868. Ken in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Ken, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. We need to carve out two more faces out of Mount Rushmore for Shapley and Ziegler, and maybe a third, Jamie Comer. This is how our nation survives, Jeff. We deal with the truth. We dispense with the corrupt. And we live America the way it was supposed to be lived. Some of us old enough to remember Watergate recognize this, to be much worse. Teapot Dome scandal likewise was worse than Watergate. Nah, this is worse than Teapot Dome because there's so many layers of corruption. They didn't just do one or two places. They were going throughout the world, wherever they could, to shake down money. We need to wake up. You identified it correctly. Yes, we're dealing with a political mafia. And unfortunately, they're supported by those who are infected with a pseudo-religion that over the past 7 years, Trump has revealed. We are still a great nation, but we have about 16 months to prove it. And we have limited time to we have to find out who the weak-kneed GOP reps who wouldn't support an impeachment. That's so obvious. So that's our mission in the next coming days and weeks, to find out, okay, you've got all the 222, right? You better, because what the hell are you doing being a Republican if you can't see this in front of your face and say, okay, it's time. No ifs, ands, or buts. And let's also clarify.
Oh, Ken, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I promise I'll give you a chance to finish your point. But this is such a compelling point. You're so dead on. I know McCarthy's argument, and this is, I know because it's Jordan's argument. Well, we need unity in the conference. In other words, we got to have, all Republicans on board. Now I'm along with you now, Ken. I'm with you. No. Let's have a vote on impeachment. Let's say the vote fails. I want to know publicly. I want transparency. I want to know, the American people deserve to know, which Republicans, which Rhino Judases are not willing to impeach Biden and his crime family. I want to know. We need to know. Because you're right. This should be 222 Republicans. Bang, slam dunk. So who are the Judases that don't want to do their obvious constitutional duty? We deserve to know. Well, Jeff will be humiliated if we don't get to 216. It doesn't matter. The truth is the truth is the truth. I want to know so we can primary each and every single one of them. Because you're right. If you don't support impeaching this, then forget it. We might as well just get rid of impeachment altogether. See, this is what I find amazing, Ken. They impeach Trump on nothing. On nothing. And here we have the highest crimes. Crimes that the Constitution says you must impeach for. And instead the Republicans are doing nothing. So the Democrats impeach on a perfectly good phone call just because they hate Trump. And the Republicans won't impeach even though this screams for it demands impeachment. Go ahead, Ken.
Oh, you're exactly right. I mean, there's no excuses anymore. But let's also sort out the names. Okay, everybody knows. Who are the culprits? Joe and Hunter. Clearly. Who are the villains? Merrick Garland, he's a stooge. He's really not the Attorney General. The real villains of this are Lisa Monaco. Write these names down, folks. Lisa Monaco and Matthew Graves. But Lisa Monaco more than any, because she is the Assistant Attorney General. She's the one who's actually giving the orders. Matthew Graves is her D.C., I can't remember his title, but he's out of the D.C. He's her hitman. He's the guy that after she gives the order, carries it out. So, folks, know the story so you can deliver.
Oh no, Ken, you're dead on. And Ziegler and Shapley yesterday both said it was Matthew Graves who nixed when David Weiss finally mustered the courage to say, I can't turn a blind eye anymore. We're going to go after Hunter. We're going to charge him with felonies, not misdemeanors, felonies, real crimes. And we're going to take it to D.C. And it was Matthew Graves, political appointee, as you point out, a Biden hack. And it was Graves who said, no way. You are not going to charge this case in D.C. I will not allow it. So when Merrick Garland under oath said that David Weiss has full power and authority to charge anyone that he wants, he lied. He committed perjury. He lied. But you're right. It's Monaco and Matthew Graves. They're the kneecappers. They're the ones that do all the dirty work for Garland and for Biden.
But, yes, 20 years ago. You want to guess?
I'm sorry, I missed the first part of what you said. I'm sorry, Ken. Could you repeat that?
Who did Monaco work for 20-plus years ago? Mueller.
Wow.
That's the connect of the dots.
Boy,
all the Enron case was a joke.
What a cabal. What a cabal. Huh? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's just a criminal cabal, all of them. It's just this incestuous network. It's unbelievable. Ken, as always, thank you so much for that call. I really appreciate it. Very smart call. Very intelligent call. Okay. Very quickly. Even on impeachment, I'm telling you right now, with all the evidence now, the irrefutable evidence that's been laid out, I am telling you Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will support impeachment. Tulsi Gabbard will support impeachment. In other words, many of these patriot Democrats, whatever you want to call them, independent Democrats, traditional Democrats, whatever name you want to give them, that are backing Robert F. Kennedy's insurgency against Biden, even they are going to be like, no, this is bribery, this is corruption, this is treason, this is pay to play, this is influence, this is grotesque. No, he's got to be impeached. So what I'm saying is, if the Republicans want to impeach, they're not just going to have Republicans behind them. They're going to have independents, and they're going to have a substantial chunk of Democrats behind them. So again, what the hell is McCarthy afraid of? Unless he's also in on it, which is what I suspect. Unless he's a typical Washington two-faced hypocrite politician. He says one thing to become Speaker of the House, but behind the scenes, he's doing the exact opposite. I can't read the evidence any other way. When you have this much of a slam dunk case against someone who, by the way, regardless of all of his crimes, just based on his cognitive decline, the guy is such a buffoon. He's so demented. Remove him from office? Come on. And he still won't do it? Something's up. Something's up. Either he's bought and paid for, or he's working behind the scenes to undermine Trump. I don't know. Whatever it is, whatever his agenda is, there's something seriously wrong. Because now, I don't know how after yesterday's testimony, Mickey Mouse would impeach. Anybody would impeach. 617-266-6868. Nick in Weymouth. Thanks for holding, Nick, and welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Jeff?
Good. How are you, Nick?
This sounds unrelated, okay? Devin Archer was convicted with several other people for bilking and defrauding a Sioux Oglala tribe from South Dakota, I believe, for $65 million. They haven't received a penny for any of these people. Judge Ronnie Abrams, a crooked Obama judge in New York, decided that she would overturn his conviction in that trial of several people. Two judges above her, and Trump, thankfully, judges, said, no, you will not do that. So she reconvicted him 2 years ago. 2018 was his original conviction. He appealed, okay? Not from in prison. He's still walking the streets, okay? His appeal was turned down, I think, in April or May. He's still walking the streets, and yet Kuhner tells us he's going to subpoena him. He was supposed to show up, I think it was June 12th. Well, my God, today's the 20th of July. He hasn't appeared at all. He's playing them. But this is an example of how bad it really is. Comer tells us all this stuff. Now, so let me jump away from that for a second. Let's talk about Bobert's impeachment bill, okay? McCarthy didn't want it to go to the floor, just like you said. So now it sits in the mighty hands of Jim Jordan in the Judiciary Committee, and Mark Green. I think he's pretty good though, from Tennessee, what do you call that? The Homeland Security Committee, AAE, the deep state, the people who look at the deep state, the Homeland Security Committee that needs to go. Okay, that was June 22nd. This is almost a month ago. They're studying this. They want to do it the right traditional way. Well, guess what? About Garland, nothing's happening. Have you seen Tony Bobolinsky, which I've been saying since February? Have you seen any of the 10 people that got the $10 million in front of the Congress saying, what did you do to get this money? Did you file a 1099? And oh, by the way, to jump back to Hunter Biden, okay, when you owe the federal government and the state government money that you didn't pay because you're indigent, whatever, you got to start paying that on a monthly plan with interest. It's tough interest. So what I'm saying is, does anybody really think that Hunter Biden, is paying interest? We know he's not going to jail. Is he even paying the money back? No one even knows so much money. So the Republicans...
he's not paying the money back. Oh, I mean, Nick, I can tell you right now, he's not paying the money back. He's not paying the money back. I mean, they're laughing in our faces. And Nick, you're making a lot of excellent points. You're connecting a lot of dots. Here's one more massive dot. So last week, maybe 2 weeks ago now, sorry, it's just so much news happens, it all kind of blends one into the other. But Dr. Gal Luft, big whistleblower, who worked for CEFC, that Chinese energy firm that made all these deals with Joe Biden and Hunter Biden. Well, they arrested him. So they finally indicted and arrested Gal Luft. And what did they get Gal Luft on? For violating FARA. Now, what's FARA? All of you may ask. Foreign Agents Registration Act. You work for a foreign entity, you need to register. Well, who did not register under FARA when he was representing Burisma, the Romanians, the Chinese? Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden never registered as a foreign agent under FARA. Now, Gal Luft is facing years in jail. By the way, that's one of the things they used to get Manafort on that violation. That's what they justified to put him in jail for years. So, Gal Luft is now facing years in prison for the very thing that Hunter Biden himself did. Hunter Biden never registered never mind all the money he took, the bribery, the corruption, that he didn't pay taxes on all the money that he took. Okay, for crime upon crime upon crime. He didn't even register as a foreign agent under FARA, F-A-R-A, under FARA. So, I mean, the guy commits multiple, it's a cascade of crimes. Nothing. But if you're a whistleblower, suddenly, like Gal Luft, poor guy now is looking at years behind bars. Now, and what did Gal Luft reveal? He said, look, I'm telling you, I represented the Chinese, CEFC, their energy firm that's tied to the Chinese Communist Party. Hunter Biden gave us state secrets and classified information that he got from his father. That's what we bought from him. That's what he was selling. So Joe Biden sold the communist Chinese through his middleman, his son, state secrets and gave them top secret classified information. Now, where the hell is Gal Luft? Why isn't he being put in front of Comer's committee? Because that would be the ultimate mother of all whistleblowers. Now they put him behind bars on these trumped up charges, the very violations that Hunter himself committed. I mean, this shows you how sick and twisted all this is getting. So, look, after a while, I'm sorry, but balls are balls are balls. And somebody's got to have some balls. If this was Marjorie Taylor Greene, I'm telling you, you can say whatever you want about her. Or if this was Lauren Boebert, again, you can say whatever you want about her. If they were Speaker of the House, Biden would be impeached by now. Garland would be impeached by now. Hunter Biden would be in prison by now. Maybe it's time for a woman to be Speaker of the House. Just my honest opinion. Thank you for that call, Nick. I really appreciate it. I mean, really, you want someone with balls? Get a woman. Again, I'm not talking about this audience, obviously, or Kuhner country, but, well, here, look at Pelosi. I mean, say what you want about Pelosi. No, you're right. Say what you want about Pelosi. She impeached Trump twice. I mean, I don't like her. I can't stand her. But man, now did she fight for the Democrats or what? I mean, she was vicious the way she went after her political opponents. This guy, Kevin McCarthy, worthless. The guy, I'm telling you, worthless. Mitch McConnell, worthless. They're just, I've never seen such pathetic losers in my life. And they're all like chihuahuas. Have you noticed that? Big mouth, barking, no bite. 617-266-6868 is the number. Alex in Florida. Thanks for holding, Alex, and welcome.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff. Thanks for having me on the program. There are 1,000 millions in $1 billion. It's very, very easy for us to go to war in Ukraine, spend $120 billion, take $4 or $5 billion from that, and pay off about 1,000 people $5 million. Tax-free money to get them to go along with every program that there is. Hunter Biden is no anomaly. I would be willing to bet our government and Congress, they're all involved in money laundering. Whether they were laundering money during COVID, they could have taken $500 billion and paid everybody off $50 million to go along with the program. That is what we're up against. And it's happening today. So I really don't see us stopping any of this. They are laundering money, our money, and they're printing money. That's why they love the war in Ukraine. That's probably one of the main reasons we're in Ukraine and we have no way out, because they don't want a way out. They can buy off a congressman and say, here's $5 million, and in the next year you're going to get another $5 million, and you keep your mouth shut. And if you don't keep your mouth shut, we have a place for you. And
Alex,
it's not enough.
Alex, by the way, just to underline what you're saying, what is it now? Biden, it was either yesterday or the day before. Again, sorry, so much news is breaking. You know, it's hard to, it's all overlapping into one another. But anyway, within the last 48 hours, another 1.3 billion. Just like that. Boom. Money that we don't have. 1.3 billion in military aid to Ukraine. Just like that. Just to prove what you're saying. 1.3 with a B billion dollars. Like this. Now, Alex, I'm going to come at this in a slightly different way. Not that you would ever do this, but to prove your point. If you came up to me and said, Jeff, I have no skills. I don't have much ambition or drive. I don't have really very much talent. I can't produce a product. I can't really run a business. I'm telling you, Jeff, I don't have much to contribute to society. Really, I'm not that hardworking. I don't have a lot of skills. I don't have a trade, but I want to be a multimillionaire. Now, I don't want to be a criminal, Jeff. I don't want to deal drugs. I don't want to rob banks. I don't want to stick up old ladies, but I really would like to be a multimillionaire. What would you recommend that I do? Honestly, I'd say, Alex, run for Congress. I swear. So you're telling me you're not smart, you have nothing much to contribute to society, you don't have much skills, but you don't want to be a drug dealer or a criminal because you don't want to go to jail. Run for Congress, become a member of Congress, you will become a multimillionaire, and it's a license to steal. And nothing will happen to you. You will come in poor and you will leave rich. All you have to be willing to do is sell your fellow neighbors, your fellow citizens, and your fellow countrymen and women down the river. If you're willing to sell your country down the river, as you said it, Alex, 5 million, and then another 5, and then another 5, and just keep the gravy train rolling. Alex, am I wrong?
You are not wrong. They thrive on crisis. It helps them to launder our money.
Bingo.
And
Bingo. All those tens and hundreds of billions of dollars sloshing around. The Pelosi's, I mean, you know how much money they've laundered through her degenerate son? That's how they roll. Okay, I know I played this cut earlier, but I want to play it again because Trump is now, he's exasperated. Now it's almost, especially after Shapley and Ziegler, the testimony yesterday by the two IRS whistleblowers. What does Biden have to do to get impeached? What does this guy have to do? Listen now to Trump saying, with everything that has now come out, the mountain and mountains of irrefutable evidence, it's time for the Republicans to make their move. Roll cut 30, Mike.
We have a compromised president. China gives him millions of dollars. If he's given Biden millions of dollars, he's compromised. Now, that's only the stuff they found. There's a lot of other things, and there'll be some things that you never find, but there's a lot of other things. So he's getting millions of dollars illegally from China, and then you say, hey, they impeached me over a phone call that was perfect. Why aren't they impeaching Biden for receiving tens of millions of dollars? Why isn't he under impeachment?
Just look at the crowd. Look at the crowd. Look at the crowd. Like they're jumping off their seats. Like, hey, what are you guys waiting for? Hillary in Maryland. Thanks for holding, Hillary, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. I love you in a non-sexual way, but when I listen to the Kuhner country, my blood pressure is rising.
Hillary, do you drink coffee in the morning?
I do.
Yeah, I see you don't need to drink coffee. Just listen to the show.
It helps me to give it up. Listening to you today, Jeff.
Hillary, can you do me a favor? Please, can you just take it off speaker? Because we can't hear you very well.
Speaker. I'm not on speaker.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll try to okay. I was reminded of the call, listening to what you talked about this morning, I was reminded of the call with Dr. Grace the other day when she said Trump has got to rally the Republicans to his side. And I think the problem what is readily apparent is that the Republicans aren't with us, and they're not with Trump. And I'm also reminded of when you were interviewing some months ago on your program Jim Jordan, and you were asking him, hey, when can we go about impeachment? And he didn't want to do it. I think even the ones that we think are on our side, save for a very few, maybe the Marjorie Taylor Greenes, the Lauren Boeberts, but it's apparent that we have no representation. And I don't want to be a despair merchant here, but I think that our representatives are bought and paid for. We have no representation. It's apparent that they're moving ahead with the program that they're on because they don't see any urgency to impeach Biden. They're not backing President Trump, and it's almost like they're getting their chess pieces set up for what they know is to come. And I think that that's another proof positive that they're probably going to indict and probably imprison Trump, or at least knock him out of the running. We're talking about this stuff. I think the thing that's so frustrating for a lot of people is that we see what's happening, but we're still, debating, arguing, speaking as if there's some political solution, some way out of this. But our government has been taken over, and we have no representation. I don't know where we go from here.
Well, to be honest, Hillary, here's my take, and you may disagree with me on this, but the Republicans feel, we'll just get him out of the way, and we'll put up somebody who's an establishment guy, and it'll be back to business as usual. And what they don't realize, it will plunge the country into a political, legal, constitutional crisis. And it's no longer going to just be Trump supporters who are going to say, I'm sorry, that's a dictatorship, and I can't support that. So the regime itself is going to head now into a crisis of legitimacy. My fear is that that's exactly what they're going to do. And then we're in completely uncharted territory. My advice to Trump, he's got to go, call it an America First party, a Constitution party, whatever party you want to call it. I don't care. The MAGA party, the name is irrelevant to me. But a party that is a populist party that will put a patriotic party that will put the interests of America and Americans first. I believe it will literally sweep the Republican Party into the dustbin of history. His 75, 80 million voters will go right into that party. And so you will see, like the Whigs, the Republicans will be gone. And then we'll finally have real effective representation. If we don't do that, I think you're right. The country's going to break up because we don't have effective representation. We don't. So how much longer can you continue to be ruled by a bunch of corrupt gangsters, crooks, and traitors? I mean, how much longer? So either we change politically and have a viable third party emerge, or you're looking now at the breakup of the United States. Let me throw this log on the fire. And I'm just curious, just for the hell of it. Let's have a little bit of fun here. It's Thursday, middle of July, middle of the summer. I know a lot of crazy things are going on. Trump is about to be indicted and arrested again. Could be as early as tomorrow. You have all of this incredible explosive testimony showing what a crook, a liar, and a traitor Joe Biden and the entire Biden crime family are. And yet the Republicans refuse still to impeach. Is it time for a third party? Is it time? Should Trump, I know we got an election. He's going to run as a Republican. He's up by 40 points in the polls, but just down the road, I'm just curious, after this election, with the Republican Party now showing us their true colors, how they really are part and parcel of the entire establishment, and that they just refuse to do the right thing, either because they're too chicken, or they're too corrupt, or whatever it is it time now to just smash the political class completely with a new third party, maybe after 2024? Should Trump start a third party? And would you support a third party? Are you done with the Republican Party? Have you had it with them? And is it time for a new America First, a populist, patriot, anti-globalist party that will put the interests of this country and its citizens first? To me, if Trump wants to lead it, we have to have somebody who's got a lot of charisma, who's a force of nature, who can bring his 75, 80, now almost 100 million supporters with him. Because if you do that, then the Republicans are finished. They're finished. And so it's no longer going to be the tail wagging the dog. It's going to be the dog wagging the tail, as it should be. So I'm just throwing it out there. Are you done with the Republican Party? The Democrats, we know, they're communists, they're socialists, they're globalists. To me, they're, forget it, irredeemable. You cannot reform them. But we're talking now about a real conservative alternative. Is it time to go third party? 617-266-6868 is the number. Let's go to Joe in Wellesley. Thanks for holding, Joe, and welcome.
Hi,
Joe.
I was wondering the land that the Chinese have bought near our bases, can that be cancelled out now?
I mean, if there's legislation that's passed, yes.
Yeah, because honest to God, I mean, I've got Chinese neighbors here who are fantastic. They're really, really nice. But when it comes to corporate things or government things, they're ruthless people. They even own, I believe, the majority of pork farms in America. I think it's like 80% of them are owned by the Chinese people. It'd be a nice way to poison people if they wanted to, with whatever food they feed the pork. The pigs. But it's kind of crazy. And what I'd like to know is if you could go back in your mind for just about half an hour ago, somebody was talking about a very good young lady called Lisa Monaco.
Yes.
Who was the male party that came up with that? There was somebody else that the name was mentioned and I didn't get it.
Okay, well, she worked with Mueller. She was part of Robert Mueller's team, and also Matthew Graves. He's the key guy in D.C. He's the one that prevented the Delaware U.S. Attorney David Weiss from pressing felony charges against Hunter Biden. It was Matthew Graves. And I think it was either Shapley it was Shapley. Shapley, the whistleblower yesterday, said, when I saw Matthew Graves step in on behalf of Joe Biden and say, we're not going to charge Hunter Biden in D.C., I knew the fix was in. That's when I said, I'm going to blow the whistle. That was the last straw. He goes, and I decided to become a whistleblower.
You gave me that info, really, because I like to know what side we've got, or what people we've got backing us up, and who's not, you know. You do a very good job of that, of letting us know who we can have faith in. And I agree with you on our speaker. He's been useless, I think, since day one.
Oh, I'm with you. No, I feel bad in one sense. Honestly, Joe, I was going to say, let's go with Jim Jordan. I was like, when they were challenging McCarthy, I was like, yeah, let's get Jim in there. But I've seen Jim Jordan. Look, I still like the guy. Don't get me wrong. And I think he gets a lot of good information. He's articulate. He's very good on television. But I mean, come on, man. I mean, if you don't impeach on this. So I've been very disappointed with Jordan as chairman of the Judiciary Committee. He's turning out into Trey Gowdy. He's turning into another Trey Gowdy 2.0. He's all talk, no action. He's all bark and no bite. And really, Joe, I'm starting to think, let's get a woman. Really? What the hell? I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, Elise Stefanik. I could just go on and on. Oh, what is it? Her name is escaping me right now. She's the one that pushed the vote on Schiff. She's from Florida. She's excellent. Sandy, could you get her name for me again? The one that pushed the vote on Schiff to get him finally censured. He finally got censured. And she's the one that led the charge. She served in the military as well. She's excellent. I mean, so, let's it's time to give the women a chance. They seem to have a hell of a lot more balls than the men do. So let's go with them. I'll back them. I swear to God I will. Joe, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868 is the number. Anthony in Middleton. Thanks for holding, Anthony, and welcome.
Years ago, Rick Santelli on MSNBC was all ticked off about the government and the stocks and how they're destroying everything, and he demanded we start a third party called the Tea Party. That's when that started back then. I don't know if you remember the big uproar, and everybody was like, third party, third party. Well, the Republicans and people came out saying if you start a third party, it's going to suck away all the votes from the Republicans, and we're going to lose elections, and it's not going to work. Well, guess what? We've been losing elections anyway. So I say go for the third party. If we lose a few elections, it's not going to matter because we're losing anyway across the board. I'm sick of the excuse. And the Republicans, Jeff, I don't know where to go, buddy, but these guys are a bunch of wimps. I can't believe that what they did to Trump with nothing, and these guys got this served on a platter. I'm done with these guys. I'm sick of hearings. I'm sick of meetings. I'm sick of all that crap. I want to see orange jumpsuit suits and shackles. And I want to see a third party. If Trump come out tomorrow and said he's going to start a third party, do you realize there'd be almost 100 million people signing up on that thing in a heartbeat?
Well, you nailed it. Anthony, you nailed it. That's what I'm saying. All the power is with him and with us. Like, the Republicans don't realize we're doing them a favor. McCarthy's got his job because of us. McConnell has his job because of us. Like I'm looking at them and like, you keep acting like you're doing us a favor. Like, no. You're only there because we gave you the majority. Had we not given you, in other words, because we gave you our votes. So we don't need you. You need us. And if you're going to continue to mistreat us, ignore us, and not do what we keep telling you to do, then we're going to go somewhere else. Now, I understand the argument. It takes time. You got to be in every state, develop infrastructure at the local level, the state level. You got to be competitive in all 50 states. This doesn't happen overnight. I get it. So it may take an election or two for us to really, be competitive nationally at every level. But, the Republicans are useless. In fact, they're worse than useless. They're corrupt. The leadership, the establishment, they're completely corrupt. They're as bad as the Democrats. It's a uniparty. In fact, Anthony, don't take my word for it. You got to see this story. It's in the Hill newspaper. It's a very credible Capitol Hill newspaper. They interviewed 4 Republican senators: Mitt Romney, Lisa Murkowski, John Thune, and I forget the 4th one. I'll get the 4th one for you. But they interviewed 4 Republican senators. And these rhinos, all of them said, well, we hate these attacks on the FBI. We hate these attacks on the deep state. We hate these attacks on the DOJ. If our party continues to say we need to clean them out and defund them, we're going to become Democrats. They're threatening to defect to the Democrats. My answer to them, go and don't let the door hit you on the way out. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, you want to see how the women are strutting their stuff and flexing their muscles? So, this was yesterday at the House Oversight Committee hearing on with the 2 whistleblowers. Marjorie Taylor Greene comes to the hearing. I mean, honestly, I was laughing my rear end off. I thought I was going to bust the gut. So people may not know this, but Joseph Ziegler, whistleblower X, the gay Democrat, the IRS whistleblower, how did he start his investigation of Hunter? It wasn't like, he said, hey, I want to go after Hunter Biden. No. He was investigating an international pornography network where people are making pornographic films and tapes, making millions of dollars and not paying their taxes. It also includes, by the way, human trafficking. Because a lot of these women in these pornographic films or prostitutes that are put into these films are trafficked. They're basically sex slaves. So he starts looking into this international pornography network. And lo and behold, he starts to see Hunter Biden sex tapes. Hunter Biden was filming himself with prostitutes, and it appears not only were they prostitutes, but that they were prostitutes who were trafficked. And he paid for them $20, $25, $30, $40,000 to be put on planes, flown across state lines, by the way, which is a violation of the Mann Act. MANN. He was involved in human and sex trafficking. And then as he's having sex with these prostitutes, he's filming them. And it's very graphic. It's on Hunter Biden's laptop. But he also puts it out on pornographic websites. So Hunter is filming himself. He's basically doing pornos. He's filming himself with prostitutes who have been trafficked, most of them from Mother Russia or Ukraine or Eastern Europe. And he's brought them into the United States, not only to bang them, to sleep with them, but to make sex movies with them. So Marjorie Taylor Greene shows up at the hearing yesterday with graphic pictures, placards with Hunter's pictures on them. Sorry to laugh, but just he's completely naked. It's from his sex videos with the prostitutes, the women in the sex tapes, and they're naked. And you see them like, some explicit sexual acts. And the Democrats are going absolutely crazy. But and the reason why she brought it was to show this is the kind of guy Hunter Biden is. This is what triggered the investigation of Hunter Biden, was that Ziegler fell across, he comes across this and he says, that's the president's son. And it's the same guy. And he's not paying taxes. He's not paying taxes on sex clubs, on prostitutes, on these sex videos. And then he says these women are being trafficked in violation of the Mann Act. So now the president's son is involved in human and sex trafficking. And that's when Ziegler decides we've really got to investigate Hunter Biden. And of course, all roads lead to Joe Biden. Listen now, before I get to Marjorie Taylor Greene, listen now to Ziegler saying this was porno, this was sex clubs, this guy was deducting everything. And by the way, all through his law firm, I'm not kidding, the law firm was where they were paying for all of this and then they were deducting it from their taxes, which was crime after crime after crime. Let me see here. Okay, let's just go with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I promise I will get you the Ziegler cut. Listen now to Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's at the whistleblower hearing. She's there with these graphic photos and pictures. And she warns everybody, this is Hunter Biden. This is the Biden family. This is what they do. Roll cut 10, Mike.
Before we begin, I would like to let the committee and everyone watching at home that parental discretion is advised. I would also like to remind everyone that on our Oversight Committee, we provide oversight into all parts of the federal government, including their Department of Justice and their willingness to prosecute and their unwillingness to prosecute, and whether it's politically motivated.
Okay, so then she drops the hammer. Listen to her saying, were you investigating Hunter Biden for violating the Mann Act? In other words, trafficking human beings across state lines. In other words, these prostitutes who he was having sex with, but also he was filming and then uploading to porn sites. Roll cut 10A, Mike.
I would like to talk about in your prior testimony, you stated that the prosecutorial team was investigating violations of the Mann Act. Is that correct, Mr. Ziegler?
That is correct.
Regarding the Mann Act, if a person is transported across state lines for sexual activity, such as prostitution, that could be a violation of a federal law. Is that correct?
I actually recently looked at the federal law regarding Mann Act, and I believe that that is correct, but I would refer you to the DOJ manual.
Thank you.
So there you go. Okay, there you go. So on top of everything else, this degenerate, now I go back to Sound of Freedom, this appetite for sexual slavery. Now, these weren't children, I get it, but these were young prostitutes, barely 18, barely. Some of them look 17, 16 when you ask people who've looked at these sex tapes. Underage then. And that's who Hunter Biden was buying at $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a pop, and then having sex with them on tape, and then uploading it to porn sites. And that's what Ziegler was investigating. It was a pornographic network. and it led him to Hunter Biden. Listen now to Marjorie Taylor Greene as she's holding up naked pictures of Hunter. He's naked. Everything is showing with the prostitutes in the videos. Everyone is naked, and she's holding it up. The Democrats are going bananas. Roll cut 10B, Mike.
When Hunter Biden paid for this woman to do this with him, to travel across state lines from California to Washington, D.C. on June 15th, this is a violation of the Mann Act. This was prostitution.
Yes. Yes. I mean, do you see how sordid this gets? So, this is what I'm talking about. Now, who that's going to tell me if the Republicans impeach on this and expose all of this, what are Biden's numbers going to be? 0? I know his poll numbers are cratering. They're tanking. But it's who can support this? Only the Bens in North Andover, only the Bills in Sudbury, only the Chris's in Gloucester, only I'm talking Hitler in the bunker types can support any of this. And Trump comes up and says, you want me or you want this? And the country's going to say, please come back. We're begging you, come back. Now, this is Ziegler. I want to play this because this is what triggered. He goes, all of this, when I began investigating years ago, it was pornographic international networks. Where are they getting all this money? How come they're not paying their taxes? Is there human trafficking, sex trafficking? And I kept bumping up against Hunter Biden. And that's what started everything. Roll cut 21, Mike.
Thus, as I read the public documents as the Department of Justice action against Hunter Biden, there is nothing that indicates Hunter Biden will be required to amend his false tax return for 2018. A false tax return that includes improper deductions for prostitutes, sex clubs, and his adult children's tuition.
Seriously. I'm asking all of you, really. I know, Jeff, we don't do prostitutes, we don't do sex clubs. I get it, of course. But if you were doing prostitutes, and you were doing sex clubs, and you were doing human trafficking, would you be so freaking stupid as to deduct it off your taxes? Because you're so greedy? Like, really? Would you actually put it down as an expense to be deducted? You'd be like, no, I don't want anybody to know about this, okay? No one's gonna know. Nobody. Instead, no, they're so brazen. They're so arrogant. They're so corrupt. You know what? Even on this, you got Uncle Sam, the taxpayer, us. We got to pick up the tab. We're paying for his prostitutes and his sex club membership. Okay, very quick. The fourth senator was John Cornyn, senator from Texas. So it was Cornyn, Thune, Lisa Murkowski, and Mitt Romney saying if the Republican base continues to target the FBI, the Department of Justice, the deep state, they are seriously thinking about defecting and becoming Democrats. That's what they told the Hill newspaper. Bye. We don't need any of them. Bye. And the congresswoman that went after Schiff was Anna Paulina Luna. Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna. So, again, you want to get something done against Schiff? You need a woman. You want to introduce articles of impeachment against Biden? You need a woman, Lauren Boebert. You want to really expose Hunter Biden and the full evil and depravity of him, his father, and his crime family? You need a woman, Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm thinking let's get a woman to be the House Speaker. Believe me, any of them would be infinitely better than worthless McCarthy. 617-266-6868. Agree, disagree. Arthur in Chestnut Hill. Thanks for holding, Arthur, and welcome.
Well, thanks, Jeff. if Biden, if people are talking about Biden running in 2024 after he's committed such incredible treason against this country, and not just as a president and an American politician who's committed these crimes for his whole career, but what kind of a man involves his family in corruption? In the greatest country in the world, he involved them all in this despicable activity that he's been carrying on. And I've said this for years, but I never thought that it would go this far. We really have lost control of this country. Nothing is going to happen to any of these people who have committed all these crimes. Over and over again, you just see people who commit the crimes, who are involved in the conspiracy, in high government positions, are just committing one crime after another, and people like Trump are being prosecuted and investigated over nothing. He's investigated for storing secrets, and Biden walks free for selling secrets, and he admitted it. But what has happened to this country? I can't believe that we tolerate such horrible behavior and crimes that no country would tolerate. No country in the world would tolerate what's going on in this country. We've lost our way a long time ago, and we just keep proving it over and over again. I just can't believe that this is it's not America anymore. It's not even close to being America.
Oh, it's not even close to America. No, you're dead on, as usual. Arthur, I want to ask you this. Not that you would ever do this, but just since you mentioned it, you said, we wouldn't tolerate this. None of us would tolerate this. God forbid, if your son was involved in human trafficking, sex trafficking, making pornos with prostitutes from Eastern Europe, who he bought and then flew over here and is flying them around the country, paying $25,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, and then making videos with him having sex with these women and uploading them on pornographic sites. Would this fly in Arthur's home on Chestnut Hill? No, really, seriously. Like, would you, say you were the biggest mafia don in Boston, just for the sake of argument. Would you allow your son to do this? And make a mockery of himself, these women, your family, your name? Would you allow this, Arthur?
Mafia dons had their rules, and they wouldn't tolerate this. This man, and you see that bizarre behavior he had with that little girl the other day. There is something very strange going on in the makeup of Biden, and the fact that he's turned around and brought his whole entire family, including nieces, young nieces, are involved in taking money. What kind of person would do this? And yet he's in charge of this country. And day after day, the evil that he's putting on our nation, which is not a nation anymore. I don't know. I just don't get it. I mean, it's just awful to watch this at the end of my life, to see what's happened to America. It's certainly not the country that I was proud to serve, and prayed that we could be able to come here after what we went through in Europe to see what it's become, and the fact that it goes on and on and on, and one day they're going to come for us, Jeff.
Arthur, as always, drop the mic. Arthur, please stay strong, my friend. Don't be a stranger. Keep calling. God bless you, Arthur. 617-266-6868 is the number. For many of you, just so that you know, Arthur is battling cancer. And so please keep Arthur in Chestnut Hill in your thoughts and prayers. If you notice, his voice is getting a little weaker now. So I'm sure the chemo's taking its toll. But let's keep praying for Arthur, okay? 617-266-6868 is the number. No, he's completely right. He's 1,000% correct. Even the mafia, I'm telling you, the mafia dons would not. You think Al Capone would have put up with this? You think the Genovese crime family, whatever? Yes, maybe the son would have a prostitute or a mistress on the side. Yes, but I mean, to be buying him at $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 a pop, to fly him in from Eastern Europe to engage in this kind of human sex trafficking, and then to be sleeping with them and filming himself. And by the way, doing lines of coke, smoking crack cocaine as he's sleeping with them and filming himself, and then they're uploading it onto the porn websites. And then the dummy's not paying. He's deducting it from his taxes. Forget they're not paying taxes. He's deducting it. The prostitutes, the sex clubs, he's deducting it. So the IRS now is after you. They're breathing down your neck. Like, really, you think a mafia, he'd slap him silly. He'd go, what are you doing? What? Are you serious? Bang, bang, bang. You better be careful because you may be sleeping with the fishes pretty soon. So, now, if they're willing to do this, and this is all with the full blessing of Joe Biden, this is his crime family. This is his number one bagman, is his son. If they're willing to do this, you think the father didn't know that he's trafficking young women? If they're willing to do this, what do you think they're willing to do to you and me, to our country? Now, I want to get very quickly something Arthur said. I mentioned it. I want to mention it again. The last day of his trip to Europe last week, Joe Biden was in Finland, and there was a young baby girl. And notice with him, it's always young girls. Always young girls. It's not boys, it's girls. And it goes back to his daughter, Ashley, who said when she was 11, 12 years old, she was forced to take inappropriate showers with Joe Biden. She wrote it in her personal diary. And he sees that kid could have been more than 2 years old. And this is the president of the United States. And he leans in with his face. Frankly, he doesn't look normal. He looks like a creep. He looks sick. And he starts nibbling on her arm and on her shoulder. And the girl is like pulling back. She's being held in her arms by her mother. And the girl is like pulling back, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's one of the most sickening, bizarre, creepy things I've ever seen. This guy's got a thing for kids. I'm telling you, he's got a thing for kids. And then you look at the Hunter Biden laptop, all the crimes on it. There's no question. There are underage girls. There is child porn, and there are underage girls. I'm talking 15, 16. Topless, very provocatively dressed. And he's like putting oil on them. What is it, like a suntan lotion? And massaging them. And they're family members. Family members. We don't know their names because they're minors. And they're family members. And you're like, ay, ay, ay. This guy's sleeping with family members. It's so obvious. So this is the kind of family we have running the United States of America. Now, flip it. Just flip it. Say this was Trump. Say this was Trump, and I'll just pick one. It's Don Jr. All of this. The videos, the prostitutes, the human trafficking, the tax evasion, the tax fraud, the bribery, the pay to play, the money, whistleblowers coming out of the woodwork. saying we found 17 million here, 10 million here, 6 million here. Everybody was buying Donald Trump. Everybody was buying Don Jr. You're going to tell me Trump would not have impeached by now? Not only would they have impeached him by now, the Trump family, all of them, would be behind bars forever. 617-266-6868 is the number. Best audience in the business. Listen now to this email. Jeff, just to add to your point, how long have we been saying that these establishment politicians in Washington, D.C., and leading the way are the Democrats and the Judas Rhinos, are nothing but a criminal cartel and crime syndicate? The Biden crime family, the Clinton crime family, the Obama crime family, the Bush crime family. The list goes on and on. If you think about it, this really is in every way the very essence of the Italian/Sicilian term by the mob, quote unquote, La Cosa Nostra, meaning this little thing of ours. In fact, these criminals in D.C. take that term to a level that the original mafia families could have never dreamed of. You know, that is an absolutely brilliant point. It's La Cosa Nostra. It really is, which means you're right. This little thing of ours. It's a big thing. It's not, but I mean, it's ours. Washington is ours. And through Washington, the country. It's ours. And we just keep taking and taking and taking. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay. Is Trump right? Is it time to impeach Biden? Especially after yesterday's IRS whistleblowers and their devastating testimony. Jake in Gloucester. Thanks for holding, Jake, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. Jeff, you couldn't make these things up. If you and I wrote a book detailing this kind of crime, this kind of criminal activity, people would say, that's a good novel and enjoyable, but it's nothing to do with reality. And you're right. The La Cosa Nostra and the Mafia were altar boys compared to this swamp in Washington, because 90% of Washington is corrupt. And I think 90% of both parties are corrupt. When you have people like Romney and Murkowski and Kuhner threatening to leave the party if investigations take place, what they're saying indirectly, Jeff, is we are as corrupt as anybody. We don't want to be investigated. We're not going to get they're as corrupt as anybody. You can't make, Jeff, I'm sitting here for the past couple of days, and you know what I said 2 years ago. Please, President Trump, start a third party. Why do you want to be involved with these swamp creatures? You would be so far ahead now as a third party. Guaranteed 75 to 80 million votes. You would have destroyed the Republicans, which they should be destroyed. The Democrats are all scumbags. And you have honest, decent people like these two IRS whistleblowers. They're going to be crucified, and they're going to be stigmatized for the rest of their lives by a corrupt regime in Washington that has been around for so long. And I've often said what you just said. The Bushes and and all those people that were in Washington for the past 40 years. I don't know how corrupt they were, but they did nothing to stem the corruptness. And you're telling me Bush and Clinton and all those people didn't know how corrupt people were? Come on. This is why the assault against President Trump is so highlighted, so strong, so vicious. They cannot allow this honest man to expose them, but they're being exposed branch by branch by branch. And Jeff, these two people yesterday, they have to be honored somehow. They have to be raised up as heroes because they have exposed the specific corruption. It's mind-boggling, Jeff. It's mind-boggling. People don't understand what they're saying. What they said yesterday, without saying it, is 80 to 90% of Congress is corrupt. They're corrupt. You don't hear when you don't hear a peep from that garbage, Mitch McConnell. Not one peep, because he's as corrupt as the rest of them. I don't know if McCarthy's corrupt or not. I don't know if he's just a guy without courage. I don't know, because nothing comes out about him. But the question I have, Jeff, is where are those 10 Freedom Caucus people that held up McCarthy's speakership? Only a couple are speaking out. How come more of those aren't speaking out and telling McCarthy, you must impeach, if only to expose further the corruption through the hearings on the impeachment process, because we know he's not going to be convicted in the Senate, because all the Democrats are corrupt. Every single one of them are corrupt, and they're scumbags. But you've got to expose this. And the other problem, Jeff, as you and I have talked about, is the total corruptness of the national media. Imagine hiding this pure, unadulterated corruptness. 40, 50, $60 million in bribes to this family. Human trafficking, sex trafficking, having sex with underage girls. This is the biggest scandal in the history of this country, if not the world. And these scumbags in the media are covering this up like it didn't exist. Nothing to look at. Go the other way. I mean, Jeff, where are the Freedom Caucus? Where are they? How come they're not putting Kevin McCarthy's feet to the fire?
That's a great
I want to know what.
I mean, I'm telling you, that's a great question. In fact, they're busy fighting with I swear, they're fighting with Marjorie Taylor Greene, because apparently she insulted Lauren Boebert. She called her a B. They got into a heated argument over impeachment and whose resolution should go to the floor. I swear, I'm not making this up. So she shouldn't have called her a B. Marjorie Taylor Greene was out of line there. But okay, I mean, people say things in a heated argument. It's politics. People get very passionate. So she called her a B on the House floor. And from that point on, the House Freedom Caucus said you can't insult anyone. You can't call them a name. And so they've ejected her. They've kicked her out of the House Freedom Caucus. They're not interested in impeaching Biden. They're interested in kicking Marjorie Taylor Greene out. 617-266-6868 is the number. Is it time to finally impeach Joe Biden? Trump says, what are the Republicans waiting for? I agree. What say you? Tom in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Tom, and welcome.
Hi, Jeff. I like you, I like your show, but you're not listening to your listeners. 90%, all your listeners have said 90% of the Republicans are corrupt, Democrats are corrupt. But then you go and say, well, let's put Boebert in or Green, when you know that they might get 20 votes. They're never going to be speaker because they're all corrupt. And yesterday what came out, both agents said April 20th, they asked for felony charges to be brought against Hunter Biden. And the Republican administration, Trump's administration, Barr, said, no, you won't bring that up. They've been covering for Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, all these years, the Republicans. You won't bring that up. The Republicans are trying to put Trump in jail since 2017. They couldn't when he was president because they can't indict him. Sessions, Rosenstein, they put an investigation on the guy. It's all Republicans. So now the Republicans made a deal with the Democrats to put Trump in jail, and he's doing it. So now the Republicans, you watch, in the next couple months, they're going to start impeaching Biden because the Democrats don't want Biden. They want him out. So they're going to make a deal to get him out. But you won't bring that up. How do you think Trump get indicted?
No, but I'm just curious, Tom. No, really, look, I mean, I'm calling for a third party. I want to wipe the Republican Party into the dustbin of history. No one criticized Bill Barr more than me. No one criticized the Kevin McCarthy, Mitch McConnell, all of them more than me. And the point that I'm making is you have a handful of honest, patriotic Republicans. I don't know why, but in Congress they seem to be women. Not all, obviously, but many of them are women. And so I make the obvious point, well, why don't we have one of them be Speaker of the House? And somehow I'm covering up for who? Like, tell me, who am I covering up for? This is what I don't get. No one else is calling for a third party in conservative talk radio except me. No one goes after the Republican Party because 90% of them are corrupt as much as me. Nobody went after Bill Barr as much as me. So who am I covering up for? Like, I don't understand this. Now, what I don't get is this. Yes, the Republicans are to blame. I want a third party. I want them gone. But the Democrats are in power. Like, I'm sorry, but you're like a one-trick pony. Every call is the same. Republicans evil. Republicans evil. I'm like, yes, the Republicans are evil, but they're not controlling the White House. They're not controlling the Senate. They're not controlling, I don't know, the government here in Massachusetts. They're not controlling the popular culture. They're not controlling the media. The media is overwhelmingly Democrat. Hollywood is overwhelmingly Democrat. So what I'm just saying is, who has been driving the FBI? It's the Democrats. I mean, yes, there's collusion with the Republicans. Yes, of course. But, you know, I'm sorry, Mitt Romney is not running the government. Joe Biden is. So I don't understand. You have this constant fixation that whenever the Democrats do something, I call them out. It's somehow the Republicans' fault. Like, Tom, I don't understand your logic. Hello?
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Tom,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, see, you can't, so you attack me. Okay. So anyway.
I didn't attack you. Tell me, what did I say that's wrong? I'm just keep saying, all you keep saying is Republicans are evil, Republicans are evil, Republicans are evil. And I'm saying, I want a third party. I want them swept into the dustbin of history. So how am I covering up for the Republicans? I don't understand that.
Why, can I talk?
Go.
Okay, you're going to cut me before the break. Jeff, they're not in power, the Democrats. The Republicans are in power in the House, aren't they? They can impeach them tomorrow, can't they? So you're on. And you cover for them. You say, oh, we got to get somebody new. How have I been covering
for them?
They're all
No. How have I been?
No.
Hold on. How have I been covering for them? I've been blasting them all morning. Like, don't you have ears? I've been crucifying McCarthy and the Republicans for being gutless cowards and refusing to go after Biden. I've been saying, so they must be complicit. They must be in on all of the corruption. If they're not willing to impeach now, why aren't they? So how am I covering up for them, Tom? And the Dems have the Senate, and they have the White House, and they have the FBI, and they have the DOJ, and they have the IRS, and they have the deep state. So who am I covering up for, Tom?
What you should be saying is that the Republicans do not represent the people. You should not vote Republican. And that by continue to vote Republican is not going to help the country. And by changing
fine. So who should people vote for? Tell me, who? The Democrats?
What?
Who should they vote for? The Democrats?
No, I tried explaining this to you. The whole political system, because to get elected to any office, you need money. You need lobbyists. And any decent American.
Tom, listen, Tom, we know that. Tom, if you listen to this show, that's all I talk about is the corrupting influence of money and power. Right now, we have Trump running on the Republican ticket. So tell me, how do we, I'm for a third party. I want to sweep both parties gone. I want them both gone. They're both selling us down the river. But tell me, at this point, who do I vote for? The Green Party with Cornel West? Who do I vote for?
What you do, if anything, you write in Trump because third party with the bubble sheet.
I write in. Okay, so you want me to write in Trump? That's your big solution. Write in Trump.
Your bubble sheets will not be counted, Jeff. Understand?
So then don't write in Trump.
No, I said the bubble sheets, you're not third party. They won't be counted because of the system we have.
So, okay. Tom, you said to me, don't vote Republican. So who do I vote for?
If you want to vote for President Trump, write him in because he will not be the Republican nominee. He's going to be in jail.
Yes.
You know that, and I know that, but you won't tell your listeners. You keep telling him he's going to be in the primary. You don't think he's going to be in jail?
Oh, my God. Are you serious, man? Like, are you serious? Can you listen to yourself?
Are you serious?
Are you on drugs? I'm asking you a serious question. Are you on drugs?
Yeah,
no,
you're
I'm asking you. I'm asking you. Listen, it's my show. It's my show.
Yeah.
All I've been doing is saying they're going to put Trump in jail. You didn't listen to 4 hours yesterday? That's all I said for 4 hours yesterday. So what? I'm covering up the fact that they're going to put him in jail? Are you normal? So your big solution, let me get this. So your big solution is put Trump, write him in. Have him be a write-in. This is your big answer. Listen, Joe, get back on your medication. When you're on your medication, give me a call. Like, I don't know what your problem is. 617-266-6868 is the number. I mean, that's it. Whatever, Tom, Joe, whatever at this point. Who cares? I mean, the guy, every call. The Republicans are evil. The Republicans are evil. The Republicans are evil. The Republicans are evil. Okay, what do you want me to do about it? Yes, all I do is say that. Yes. What's your big solution? Trump is running as a Republican. I urged him to go third party. I did. He didn't listen to me. That's his right. Okay. So now he's running away with it in the Republican primary. They don't want to face him in a general election. Biden now and the DOJ are trying to frame him by putting him behind bars. And I've been calling all of this out, but somehow I'm protecting the Republicans. Why? By calling for them to be wiped out as a party? That's how I protect them? And I called them out over and over again before. 617-266-6868 is the number. Paul in New Bedford. Thanks for holding, Paul, and welcome.
How you doing, Jeff? How are you today?
I'm good. How are you, Paul?
Listen, I just took another blood pressure pill after that last call you just had. Holy, you're talking about a doom back. Getting back, whatever. Here's the thing, Jeff. I want to talk about that third party. The reason why I think it wouldn't work, here's my take on that. Say, how many electoral votes you need to become president? Is it 270?
Yes.
Okay. So when you have a third party, the risk of what might happen is Trump might not get to 270. Say he gets to 250 because the party's broken down by three. The Republicans, the Democrats are now a different party. Trump would go. It would have to go to the House, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the House would have to have a vote of how the votes would be spread out. Now, the House, who are Democrats and Republicans, guarantee would not vote to send or make Trump elected president of the United States, even though he might have 250 electoral votes, and the rest of the group might have the rest. So, because of the reason why the Democrats and Republicans wouldn't want to have a third party, because they would have the risk of them losing their seats would be gone, because now you have a third party running the country, and now you don't have a Democrat or Republicans, and those people that have been in government for all these years now will have a risk of losing power. So I do agree with you that with Trump going independent would be a great idea, but that's the thing that he had a risk of doing the first term that he was being run for president. He threatened them to go independent, and what happened is the Republicans talked him out of it and said, no, we'll back you up. You have to run Republican. So I think this idea is great, but I don't think it's going to work, Jeff. Because
no. I mean, Paul, you make some very, very good points. Look, first of all, it's too late now. I mean, the die has been cast. So now it's just, look, our backs are up against the wall. I mean, really, the stake of the country is hanging by a thread. So, he's running as a Republican. We're going to have these Republican primaries. Again, unless they put him in jail, he's going to win in a landslide. So now it would be folly to do it now. So I completely agree. What I'm saying is if they put him behind bars, because you are right. And in this sense, Tom in New Hampshire is right. But I've told him that like 5 times already because it's the same call over and over again. So I understand what he's accusing me of. But what I said is, you're right. The Republican Party doesn't want Trump. Like, I think there's no question now. You can see it with the imminent indictment, their reaction. They're trying to jail Trump. They don't care. It's obvious that 98% of the Republicans don't care. And you can see it with their refusal to impeach Biden. So it's obvious the Republican Party wants Trump gone just as much as the Democrats do. And that's his problem. That's his big problem. So what I said was, after 2024, if we don't win this election, we should. I mean, he's got 100 million votes. He should win in one of the biggest election victories in American history. But I go, if the Republican Party fails us again, then I said, maybe we got to go third party. And my feeling on this, Paul, is, now you may disagree with me. I've got a lot of very good emails and texts coming in. I don't think it's going to be a third party in the sense that you'll have Democrats, Republicans, and let's just call it the America First Party or the America Party. Once we all go third party, it's going to replace the Republican Party. The Republican Party will be gone. I mean, what can they get? 1 million? I mean, how many true rhinos are there? Maybe a couple million in the whole country? So I think what's going to happen is, if we go third party, we will destroy the Republican Party. And this way, since we control the party, Trump controls it, we control it, we can decide who we run for Congress, who we run for governor, who we run for the state legislatures. In other words, we get to finally pick people who are on our side and our team, not the Republican donor class, because that's what really runs the Republican Party, are the globalists and the donor class. So what I'm thinking is, it's not so much 3, it's 3 becomes 2. Go third party, and eventually that will destroy and swallow the Republican Party. Am I making any sense here, Paul?
Absolutely, Jeff. You're making sense on that. I agree. And as far as the Republicans having no gonads, they should maybe look at Marjorie Taylor Greene and see how she's doing business, because you are right about that woman speaker. I mean, you like going to the beach, Jeff? Most people like going to the beach in the summertime, right? So yes, they might call her that type of situation, but it might take something like that to get things rolling with Republicans, because she's the only one that's bringing impeachment to the floor. And she's talking about this, and she's bringing up evidence and stuff like that. She has the cojones that Kevin McCarthy wish he ever had. And these people that put in power in the speaker. And remember, McCarthy, it took how many votes for him to be speaker? That should have been a flag to everyone that this guy was not the person to be Speaker of the House.
Oh, Paul, you absolutely nailed it. No, you absolutely nailed it. Now, look, you and Tom, on this issue may be right. Look, maybe Marjorie Taylor Greene doesn't have the votes the Republicans would never allow her. But to me, that's just a damning indictment of the Republicans. Or whatever, Lauren Boebert or Elise Stefanik, I'm just making an observation. In Congress, I see female patriots who seem to have a hell of a lot more guts than most of the men. I'm sorry, I'm just calling it the way I see it. So I'm thinking, let's make one of them House Speaker. What the hell? Anyway, okay. Honestly, callers today, phenomenal. Bye-bye.